Finally, you're going to hear from Miss Ryder. She's going to tell you exactly what happened on July 14th, and she'll tell you that she told the police that. But the police didn't listen. They thought she was a villain. Members of the jury, we're going to ask you to go a step farther than the police. We're going to ask you to look past easy explanations and consider the evidence that they didn't. The police found a victim, and so they looked for a villain. We're going to ask you to look for the truth. That's why at the end of today's trial, we're going to ask you to deliver a just verdict. One that finds Miss Ryder not guilty. Thank you.
Thank you. Any witnesses from the state?
Yes, Your Honor. The prosecution calls Corbin Dallas to the stand.
All right.
May I proceed?
You may.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Could you please introduce yourself to the members of the jury?
Hi, I'm Corbin Dallas.
What do you do for a living, Ms. Dallas?
I currently work for a cleaning service in Midlands. Nothing too exciting, but I'm also taking night classes on the side to hopefully become a nurse one day.
Ms. Dallas, could you tell us why you're in court today?
My 12-year-old niece, Parker, passed away on July 14, 2018, on a camping trip with her mom. I'm here to talk about Parker, about the months leading up to her death.
Who is the defendant to you?
Jordan is my half-sister and Parker's mom. The two of them moved in with me after Parker's dad died, and we lived together for about 4 years, until June of 2012.
What happened in June of 2012?
That's when Jordan went to prison. After that, I became Parker's legal guardian. I basically became her second mom.
What exactly did being Parker's second mom entail, Ms. Dallas?
I mean, pretty much exactly what you'd expect. I cooked for her, shopped for her, took her to school. When I'd pick her up from school, we liked to stop at this beautiful park near our house. It was Parker's favorite place in the whole entire world.
A moment ago you said that you were Parker's caretaker while the defendant was away. Did anything significant happen with Parker's health during those years?
Yes, so while Jordan was still in prison, Parker was diagnosed with an incurable genetic disorder called osteogenesis imperfecta, more commonly known as brittle bone disease.
Objection to an improper lay witness opinion that it was an incurable disorder.
Okay. What is your response to that?
Your Honor, she's simply testifying to her understanding of the disorder. And I believe this is a fact that Jordan Ryder actually admits to in her interrogation. It's a stipulated fact, Your Honor.
Well, I think it's to what this witness knows. So it's your objection. I'll give you the last word.
Yes, Your Honor, I'm objecting that there hasn't been foundation laid about how she knows this and exactly what information she had about the disease in the first place. So I'm objecting to her characterization of it.
Okay. I'm going to sustain it to the incurable part, to her understanding of what the disease is and that she was diagnosed. So I'm going to overrule part, sustain in part, and then you can continue. If you can lay the foundation to get into the incurable part, you can do so.
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Dallas, from what you could see, how did that disease seem to affect Parker?
Oh, I mean, completely changed her life. Made it harder for her to walk, harder for her to breathe. Started staying indoors most of the time. I mean, she couldn't even make the walk to her favorite park anymore. I felt so helpless.
I want to talk about how the defendant reacted to Parker's diagnosis. Did you make her aware of that condition while she was in prison?
Yes, of course. As soon as we found out, I sent Jordan a letter describing everything that had happened.
Did the defendant respond?
Yes, pretty much right after that, Jordan started sending Parker pretty regular letters.
Did you read those letters, ma'am?
I did, yes.
And what kinds of things would the defendant write about in her letters to Parker?
Jordan talked about how she wanted Parker to overcome her disease, about all these plans that she had for her and Parker after she was released. Things like climbing mountains, going on wild adventures, starting a new life together.
And how did Parker react to the defendant's expectations of her?
She seemed nervous. After all these letters that Jordan had written, I remember Parker talking about being scared to disappoint Jordan.
Let's talk about what happened when the defendant was released from prison. When was that?
That was in June of 2018. She moved back in with us about 6 weeks before Parker died.
How were things when the defendant moved back in with you?
They were pretty tough. Just like she wrote about in her letters, Jordan started trying to get Parker to go on these adventures with her, really pressuring her to overcome her disease. But Parker kept having to say no.
What do you mean Parker kept having to say no?
Jordan would tell Parker they were going somewhere, ice skating, rock climbing. Parker would have to remind Jordan that she had a condition that she couldn't do those things.
Tell us what would happen when Parker had to tell the defendant that she couldn't do her plans.
The more Parker would turn her down, the more frustrated Jordan seemed. They would get into these arguments, and over those 6 weeks, things really started to escalate.
Objection to speculation that Jordan Ryder seemed frustrated. I understand that she said that was her perspective, but we haven't heard the contents of the arguments themselves, and without that foundation, that's a speculative comment.
Your Honor, may I respond?
Yes.
It's well within the scope of Ms. Dallas's rationally based perception to say that Ms. Ryder seemed more and more frustrated at her daughter. Ms. Dallas lived with the two of them. She's talking about a series of interactions that occurred over a number of weeks, and I'm actually about to go on and ask her how these interactions escalated over that time frame. It's not speculative, Your Honor.
Okay, I'm going to overrule your objection subject to them laying how she knows it was an increased tension, but if you don't feel like the foundation's laid, please renew your objection.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Dallas, you said that things started to escalate over those 6 weeks. How did they escalate?
Jordan kept complaining about what she called Parker's weak attitude. Their arguments would turn into screaming matches, and I remember telling Jordan to be more understanding because of Parker's condition. But she just brushed me off.
Did you ever hear the defendant say anything about how Parker's condition made her feel?
Not to me, but I do remember hearing her talking about it on the phone once. She said, "Sometimes Parker makes me so angry, I just want to shake her."
Dallas, I know this is going to be difficult, but we need to talk about the day that Parker died. When was the last time you saw your niece alive?
July 13th, 2018, the day before she died.
What happened that day?
Without telling me, Jordan decided to take Parker on this campground. At the time, I had no idea what had happened. They just disappeared.
What did you do?
After they'd been gone for more than a day, I tracked Parker's phone, saw that it was at this campground outside of town, and I immediately called the police.
What happened after you called the police, Miss Dallas?
The police said that they were going to the campground to look for Parker. They wouldn't let me go with them, so I just waited at home. I didn't know what to do. I just wanted Parker to be okay, She's so fragile. I just wanted her to come home safe.
Objection to improper lay opinion that Parker was so fragile.
Your Honor, may I respond?
Yes.
Ms. Dallas was Parker's primary caretaker for a number of years. She's already testified about how Parker's condition affected her. She testified that Parker couldn't make the walk to her favorite park, could barely go up the stairs. It's certainly within the scope of what she's already testified to, and well within the scope of her rationally based perception to say that Parker was fragile.
May I respond?
You may.
To say that Parker was fragile is attesting to the severity of her medical condition. That's an improper lay witness opinion under this witness. Instead, she can say the things that Mr. Becker just explained, that she saw certain things or maybe thought certain things, but she cannot attest to the severity of Parker's medical condition.
Your Honor, may I respond?
Nope, overruled.
Dallas, you said that Parker was so fragile that you just wanted her to come home safe. Your Honor, at this time I'm going to read a portion of the defendant's interrogation onto the record.
Okay.
Lines 424 to 426. Detective Chesney, what happened after Parker screamed at you, Jordan? Jordan Ryder. I grabbed that stupid stick from her to prove a point. She fought with me. She was so angry, but I was tired of her being weak. Dallas, what happened after the police went to the campground?
A few hours later, I got a phone call. My entire stomach just dropped. Parker was dead. I had to go in and identify her body. And that was the last time that I saw her.
Thanks for your time. Your Honor, we have nothing further.
Thank you. Cross-exam?
Yes, Your Honor. May I begin?
You may.
Good afternoon, Miss Dallas.
Good afternoon.
I just got a couple questions for you, and we'll get you out to court as soon as possible, okay?
Of course.
You told us a moment ago that when Jordan came back from prison, you remembered a lot of things going on in your household, right?
I remember the fights, screaming matches. I remember those, yes.
Man, when the police talked to you, you told them that the month of June, when Jordan came back, was a total blur for you, right?
It went by pretty quickly, yes.
You said that you don't remember very much from that month at all.
It was a crazy time, you know. Jordan had just come back from prison. There was a lot going on. I don't remember every single detail, no.
So I want to ask you about the weekend of July 14th, back in 2018. You weren't on the campground with Jordan and Parker, were you?
No, I mean, I had no idea that they were even going to the campground in the first place.
So, because you weren't there, you don't know what caused Parker to fall, do you?
No, all I know is that she fell off a 40-foot cliff.
Ma'am, because you weren't there, you couldn't tell us what time Parker fell at all, right?
No, I was not there.
But even though you weren't there, you'd agree with me that you're certain your sister is guilty.
End of the day, Jordan was responsible for Parker that day, yes.
So let's talk about why you might be certain that your sister is guilty, despite the fact that you weren't there at all when Parker died.
Objection, Your Honor. Argumentative.
Cross. Overruled.
Yes, Your Honor.
Several years ago, your sister asked you to take custody of her daughter, right?
Yes, when she went to prison, I became Parker's legal guardian.
You didn't want to be a parent, did you?
No, I mean, not before I became Parker's mom. It wasn't really in the cards for me.
Actually, ma'am, even now you'd agree you don't miss taking care of Parker, right?
I definitely don't miss the hospital visits, you know, seeing someone that I loved sick. I don't miss that, no.
Ma'am, it caused you a lot of stress, right?
Of course, being a mom was stressful.
It caused you so much stress that you started drinking.
Objection, Your Honor. Rule 403, substantially more prejudicial than probative.
Yeah, how is this probative?
Your Honor, this is probative on two grounds. First, it goes to the witness's credibility. During direct examination, she testified about the care she took with Parker, what a careful parent she was because of Parker's medical condition. And the fact that she was drinking around Parker actually makes that less likely, so it goes to credibility. On the other grounds, the defense is contending that Jordan Ryder took Parker out of Corbin Dallas's household into the campground because she didn't think Parker was safe there. Now, in Midlands, we're not able to recall witnesses. So this testimony that, in fact, her household had some unsafe conditions, it does go to the defense's contention that Jordan Ryder wasn't putting her daughter in danger, she was keeping her safe. The probative value is not outweighed by prejudicial effect.
Yep.
Now, as to that first argument about what Ms. Dallas said on direct examination, she didn't testify to the quality of care. She didn't come into court to talk about how good of a parent she was, and the quality of care that Ms. Dallas gave to Parker is not a fact at issue in today's case. It doesn't make anything more or less likely. It only goes to prejudice the jury against her. As for that second argument about the motivation for which Ms. Ryder took Parker to the campground, that's something they can testify to on the direct examination of Ms. Ryder. It's certainly not probative to bring it up on Ms. Dallas's cross-examination, but there is a substantial prejudicial effect to bring this information out in front of the jury.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what time period you're talking about with this drinking, and we've heard that she's been taking care of Parker for years, so at this point I'm going to sustain the objection.
Yes, Your Honor.
Motion to strike, Your Honor?
I don't know if she's given an answer, but if she has, that answer is stricken.
Yes, Your Honor.
Taking care of Parker was extremely stressful for you, right?
Yes, it definitely was stressful.
In fact, one day in 2018, Jordan Ryder called you about it, right?
Yes, we exchanged some phone calls.